Good morning, everybody. It's lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for tuning in once again to another lockdown Bible study. As you can see this week, I am sat in my garden and I am enjoying life. Yesterday, Jason and Rico came up and they hacked back all the thorns, trimmed the bushes and cut the grass. So my garden is looking magnificent. They've done a great job. So thank you, brothers. And I'm enjoying being sat in it. And they deserve a shameless plug. If any of you have any garden work doing, contact Jason. They've done a great job. Thank you both. As you can see, I have also had a trim. This isn't a consequence of Jason's handiwork, but his handiwork did inspire my wife to get the clippers out. We're going to continue where we left off last week in Hosea. So if you can please now pause this video and turn in your Bibles to Hosea 12, Hosea chapter 12 verse 7, and read through to Hosea 13 verse 8. If you don't have your Bibles with you, I'll put the verses in the comments below. So please pause and I'll see you in a second. Well, I hope you enjoyed reading those verses. Carrying on from last week, Hosea keeps Jacob in mind in these verses. This time he speaks of his section of his life where he is living with Laban. Jacob served Laban for 7 years to win his wife Rachel, but Laban gave Jacob a taste of his own medicine and tricked him on the wedding day and gave him his other daughter Leah. So Jacob had to work another 7 years for Rachel. So 14 years he worked for 2 wives, one of which he didn't want. But the reason why Hosea tells us this story, or reminds us of this story of Jacob in our passage today, is he's bringing across in our reading a shepherd theme, and this is reinforced by another Bible character that he turns to, and that is Moses. In verses 13 to 14 of chapter 12, he evokes images of Exodus, and verses 4 to 8 he speaks directly of Moses. Moses, of course, shepherded God's people through the wilderness, and Hosea, he calls upon these two titans of the faith, Moses and Jacob, to bring through this shepherd theme. What he is reminding us is that God is our shepherd. He took Israel from the desert where he cared and loved them and attended to them and provided for them in every way, and he took them from the wilderness into the promised land where they prospered under his shepherding. But the problem, as we've seen throughout Hosea, and we've discussed this as a problem of human history too, is that when we prosper as a society, we think as the Israelites do in our reading today, verse 8, they claim that they no longer need God. And we've seen that, haven't we, in recent generations here in our own country. People have their nice big TV, their fancy houses, their fancy cars, their great job, their holiday on the Med, and they think, things are great. What do I need God for? And that attitude has made people think that church is a crutch, that it's for people that need God, people that are weak or broken, who have done something wrong. They see church as a crutch for them. So if you're wealthy and healthy and prosperous, God isn't for you. And that is obviously not true, is it? The church is not just a crutch. It is a crutch for some, and I'm proud of that. In fact, at every point of our life, we all need help, and the church is a vehicle of human fulfillment that God has given us for that purpose. But the church is so much more than a crutch. It's a place where you could be strong in and through. It's a community of which you can serve and love. But most importantly, church is the medium of which God has revealed to us as a vehicle for worship. And we need church because we need to keep God in the centre of our lives, because without God, things fall into chaos very, very quickly. And we see that in our reading today. You know, from verse 8 of chapter 12, the people are saying we're doing well, so we don't need God anymore. And then in verse 2 of chapter 13, which is only a few verses on, we're seeing now that they're kissing calves and sacrificing humans. You know, it's a quick fall, a descent into chaos, because they don't have God. And that's what happens with humanity. And I saw it firsthand when I was a prison chaplain. You know, I'd meet these godless men that have done vile things, but because they don't have God in their lives, their justification of what is good and bad is comparative to those they're with. So I'd meet a murderer and he would say, well, I'm not that bad, at least I'm not a paedophile. I'd meet a paedophile and he would say, well, at least I didn't kill anyone. And that this is the problem with humanity. If we take God away, it becomes a race to the bottom, because we only have to be as good as the next person. We don't have this higher absolute to attain to, and it leads to chaos. The message of the teaching today is God is your shepherd and he provides. What do you do when he does? When God blesses you, how do you act? Do you acknowledge him in every good thing that he has given you, or do you take the credit for yourself? That's the challenge from today's message. And I think it's very timely in light of what we're going through as a nation with COVID-19. As we said last week, COVID-19 has been a real test for many of us. Some people have lost loved ones, some people have had the disease, some people are suffering from lockdown with mental health and fear and anxiety. But many people have done very well out of it, essentially a 7-week staycation. And the challenge last week was don't look back and feel that you've wasted this time. Get real with God during this break that he has blessed you with. And if you are in fear or living in anxiety, again, wrestle with God as Jacob did. Seek his face and he will help you and comfort you. You know, it says do not fear 365 times in the Bible, one for every day. We're not to fear, God is in control. That was the challenge of last week. This week the challenge is in regards to how we act under God's blessing. Friends, when we cannot change the situation we are in, we can change our perception of it. So rather than thinking, you know, if God has done this, well, he's not the God for me, or things are going so well, I've spent the whole day sat in the garden reading, or sat on Netflix, and I'm still getting paid, that's great, what do I need God for? You know, if that is your thinking, you're no different to Israel in our reading. Whether you're suffering or prospering from this situation, you still need to keep God at the very centre of your lives and not dwell on things of this world or dwell on fear. You need to thank God that he is in control, that he is the shepherd that will lead us all through the wilderness. He will provide manna from heaven. He will keep us fed and watered and guide us till he calls us home. So that's the message today. Whether in suffering or in plenty, follow the shepherd. He's the line of truth that we should live by, and through him we will be a prosperous flock. Trust in Jesus Christ, the good shepherd. His rod and staff will comfort you. He will lead you through the valley of the shadow of death that we call life, and he will bring us home to him. So please have a blessed day. I miss you all, love you all dearly. Please stop this video and pray for the church, pray for our frontline workers, and pray that God will use this lockdown for his glory. I'm pleased to report we've had one dear sister come to faith who was outside the church before this. So there is fruit in the lockdown, and there's a number of families that want to join us as a result of our online services. So please pray for them. Pray for a revival within the church and an awakening for those outside. God bless you all. Stay safe. Love you. I'll see you Friday for Ask Pastor John at 8 o'clock. And if you have any questions, please send them in. And I'll see you Sunday morning for worship. Amen.